Welcome to Uncomplicating Business. I am delighted to be talking to you today about what and why and things related to grounding. And listen, I know this is something we have talked about before, but it matters this much. And so today I'm bringing you one of my favorite people, like multiple time guest at this point, the magical Stacey Andon, because this grounding in particular is something she thinks really hard about and really practices better than most of the humans I know. Like she is a ninja at this, and that is why she's here because you're around her and you're like, why is it different around Stacey? This is why. This is why. So, just so you know, here on the podcast, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about sort of the what and the why and the like, how do you see it? What are you looking for? How do you know? And then in the Uncomplicating Business Lab, which is the membership I run, and I want to say it's like a membership, but not a membership. It's a community. It's a community with coaching and resources and conversations like the one we're going to have with Stacey next week on the 19th about like the nitty gritty details of like, okay, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you keep it? What happens when it all feels like it's blowing up? How do you adjust it? We're going to do all of that because those are things she and I have both done in real time for a really long time. So, Stacey, hi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love. And yes, everybody needs to get to the lab, Sarah's magical community. I'm down for it always.
Yes, it's going to be super fun. But this is super fun and we're here now. So,
Absolutely.
the place we're starting is what does it, when I say be grounded, what does that mean to you?
So, gosh, that's like opening a big, big box of Pandora.
You know,
Um,
here for the easy ones, right? My clients are often like,
exactly.
gee, that's a small question, jerk.
Exactly. So to me, when I am grounded, um, I am rooted in my own energy. I am rooted in my own knowings, truth, in a moment. You're dialed into present. There's a mindfulness piece to it as well, too, right? You're not in the future, you're right here, right now. And that doesn't mean everything has to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you're not worried or afraid or what have you. This is not about some kind of like, oh, groundedness is positivity. Groundedness is truth and realness in this moment, feeling your feet on the ground and coming. I think you can't do this without coming into your body.
Mm.
And I think for so many of us, we've done a lot of evolving over the last, I don't know, however many years. And then more recently, especially just even in the last 18 months, it's like, okay, now you have to bring this into the body. If you're not, you can be intellectually aware all you want of grounding and, mindfulness and all that, but like, are you doing it in real time? Are you feeling your feet
Mm.
in a moment where your body touches the edges of the outside world and coming into that space first and foremost before you're moving outward. Before anything goes out, you start in. And that's what I think of. Short answer for groundedness.
Well, and it's sort of like, I think part of what you just said there is there's a difference between intellectual grounding and physical grounding, and you need
Absolutely.
both,
You do.
right?
You
Like
do.
you, and it's almost like actually I think there's three. There's intellectual grounding, like I get how this works, right? I'm here with myself. I understand what's going on. There's emotional grounding,
Mhm.
which is separate than that logical brain. And
Yep.
then there's like, do you feel your feet on the floor?
Yeah. Yeah. And it
Interesting.
clicks and
Hmm.
it clicks and it's interesting because I think for a long time I was walking around intellectually grounded, but
Yeah.
I didn't quite have the emotional and the physical. It's a practice. I mean, all of this is a practice. Nobody's trying to be the best grounder on the planet. Why are we doing this? And that probably you're gonna ask me that in a few minutes, but this idea of allowing yourself to be where you are in the moment. So if you've been intellectually practicing it, okay, I want to come back in, I want to be more mindful. Hey, taking a pause to me is a huge part of being grounded, right? Taking a breath. And that breath then brings you back into the body. Hopefully it invites you to check in on whatever's going on emotionally, and intellectually you're doing it because you're like, oh, I'm going to take this breath. So you can find yourself also like in this overlap as well
Mhm.
too as you start to really practice it.
Well, and I think probably intellectual grounding, like wrapping your brain around it, is first.
Yes.
And that's like the outer circle. And the next layer in is like being willing, although I'd be curious to your thought, is the next layer in being willing to check in with your body or your feelings?
Mm.
Because I think actually probably the one people avoid more is checking in with their feelings. Like that's the scarier one than their body, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna feel my feet on the floor, but I'm gonna ignore that I feel like crap.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Now I'm just, this is off the cuff right now. I wonder if you can feel, I wonder, like those things are so intertwined.
Mm,
I wonder, because I've had clients over the years, right? They're like, I say, feel your feet on the, I can't feel anything.
mm,
And so but they're also so out of the connection to the emotional. Like, I
mhm,
think it can show up as it's hard to actually come back in. So I don't know, can you be emotionally or physically first? Or those two are very, very intertwined. And I
mhm.
agree with you. Intellectual, all I think it's kind of like the introduction, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not, unless you have the awareness first that that's going to introduce you and welcome you or invite you in to the body and to the emotion. But you're right. Emotions are the things that most people are trying to avoid. It's like the discomfort. This is why a lot of people are like, I would love to be intellectually grounded, but to be grounded in the emotion and the
Mm.
body, there could be discomfort that you are then going to be checking in on that most people go, oh, no, I don't want to, I don't want to do
I
that.
might die. And that's where you're like, yep, that's how we run a business. So
Exactly.
for you, and we'll get to the why. I think the
Hmm.
why gets clearer
Yep.
and clearer for people. For you,
Hmm.
when you are grounded, and I'd like to say both sides of the coin, right? When you are grounded, how does it look and feel and
Hmm.
sound? When
Hmm.
you are not grounded, how does it look and feel and sound, right?
Mm.
Like, what do you
Hmm.
know about yourself?
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to start with when I'm not grounded.
Mm,
When I'm not grounded, it looks like I can't settle. So I pop from thing to thing to thing, and I feel very distracted.
mm,
And I feel very like time is moving so fast that I can't swallow all the things on the conveyor belt. Um, and I just can't get a hold, like this feeling of I can't get a hold of anything.
mm,
It just feels like everything's moving in ways that just like I can't keep up or catch up or be in that actual moment.
hmm.
And it sounds like sometimes for me, like if you were to talk to me, like, um,
Yes.
and you're like, all right, girl, take a breath.
Hmm. Same, but I get the same
Uh,
way. It's like I
yes.
always describe that as it's like swimming furiously behind the boat, hoping you can get on it rather than being the captain.
Exactly. And in your butt, like also too, because I know what it feels like in my body. In my body, it feels again like this kind of nervousy energy. Not quite like, hey, I'm going on a stage to give a talk, butterflies, but there's like this just this agitative kind of
Hmm.
energetic state. It could be like a flurry, it can be in my chest.
Mm,
Sometimes again, I just don't feel like sometimes I'll feel my upper body, but I don't feel my lower body, right? And there's this disconnect going on physically as well too. Not saying that when I'm not grounded, I'm like, oh, right away. But then you pay attention and you're like, oh, okay, that's what what's
yeah.
happening. And then to be in a more grounded state, to me, it's like, especially right now we're in the Olympic energy. It's like to be in a flow state.
Mm,
So you're moving, like you said, as a cat, you're moving with life. You're moving with the things. If an interruption comes or something comes at you, so to speak, it's not going to you're not being dismantled or completely out of sorts. You're like, huh, okay. It comes through almost like this energetic filter that
Hmm.
allows you to look at it and see it and receive it and not just be in like, responsive versus reactive.
Hmm.
And I feel, again, I feel very in touch with my own physicality when I'm grounded. I feel like there's no emotional thing that can't be seen or witnessed. Even if you're like, "Ooh, I'm really angry right now." However, it's not the most appropriate time because I'm at the grocery store or whatever, I'm talking to a client. You can also acknowledge and be in that state without having to say, "Oh, now I have to just be angry and do something with
Yeah.
it," right? And because I think that that sometimes can take us in a different place. It's like you can absolutely witness the emotion and then choose. It's a choosing, it's a deciding. It's not a like this is happening to me, right? Which is
Yeah.
very much ungrounded. Oh, to me, it's happening with me. And so I get to move about and be in relationship with this in a way that works for me.
Well, in that's like the distinction you made between responsive and reactive
Mhm.
is that, right? It's like
Yeah.
when I am grounded, things happen. Like things are going to happen no matter what. That is just like I spent Monday night in the emergency room with a sprained hand for a kid. Like did I plan on being at X-rays at 11 p.m. on Monday night? I did not. But
Yeah.
I can respond to that versus react to it. Like I didn't
Yes.
need to be about the whole thing. I
Hmm.
could just like roll through and do the thing and not be
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not required. But,
Absolutely.
if you're angry in the grocery store, you can decide to respond to your anger and say like, "Hey, we're going to take this in the car."
Yeah.
Versus like, You're right, I am angry," which is a
Or you're
whole,
snapping at, right?
yes.
Guilty. I one time I was upset because somebody called me out on having 12 items instead of 10 items. And I'm like crying, angry cry. And it had nothing to do with that. And it was just like, oh yeah, I need to go tend to
I need
myself.
to go to my car.
Right? You could say I could journal with it. Like I
Yeah, or
can
I'm just gonna
take
hold it
this.
for an
Yeah,
appropriate spot. Like that's okay.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So you and I both work with other people.
Hmm.
And this is not to like generalize or do other things, but there are some things I think I see often in clients and friends and colleagues that lead me to go like, a little ungrounded today.
Yeah.
Like, and I think some of the things that you mentioned, the like squirreliness,
Yep.
the feeling behind, like you're running at full speed and it's being done to you, but you can't catch it.
Mhm.
Um, I think the another one is that constant need for response from other people,
Mhm.
like that validation reflex, that
Mhm.
outside validation reflex is an
Mhm.
ungrounded thing. It's like, well, I can't do anything unless somebody responds. Like, well,
Yeah.
actually you can.
Yeah.
But are there other things you see that are different from your typical reactions
Hmm.
that lead you to look at people and be like, I think grounding would help here.
Yeah. I definitely think it's interesting when somebody is all up in, right, the intellectual and talking and going. And then it's like, okay, let's just take a breath here. And then immediately what might come instead of just like, okay, I'm gonna just relax into that is but. Right?
Yep.
If you want like a literal way, it's like, but I can't,
But
but that but, oh, there's so much in a but. Oh, did I mean that? I don't know.
my
Um,
kids aren't here for to giggle, so we're
there you
fine.
go. There's so much there. That inability. it's like you're on the like you ever go to the airport and the like people are like running down the electric sidewalks. I'm like, whoa, like let's just have some fun here and just let it do the heavy lifting for us. And I think also too when people are in heavy pro like to your point, problem solving. I've got to figure this out. I've got to come to some
There
I've
has to
got
be
to
an answer.
yes,
Mm,
right now, immediately. I mean, usually it's like, okay, there's the discomfort of just sitting in this ambiguity, which most of us don't want to do. So, how do I do that? But generally speaking, and there is literal fidgeting, and I also think people just like they start to kind of contract a little bit it
hmm.
like this way their shoulders go it's like it if you've ever been in a yoga class when they're like okay your ear and your shoulder shouldn't be
Yeah,
touching
don't wear your
like
shoulders as earrings, is what
yes
the yoga
yes
teachers used to say.
exactly. Like, and so you can even tell in body language, right? As you're paying attention to little micro things around how people, or they're like this, right? There's this protective
Mm,
energy that kind of pulls in, and it's like, is somebody, it to me, it's like also like just an aura energetic signature
hmm.
that we are all you do not have to be a coach. You do not have to be an intuitive to read that. You know things about people that have nothing to do with language, have nothing to do
Yeah.
with what they're saying. It has to do with how you are in response.
Hmm.
So sometimes you can tell when people are ungrounded because all of a sudden you feel a little like
Well, and it starts to like take you away, right?
hmm
So I think that piece about like problem solving is good, but for me, when problem solving turns into fixing
hmm
everything right now,
hmm
that's when I'm like, ooh, okay,
hmm
hold on. And I even know that for me, when I'm in like fixer mode, and I'm like, I'm gonna fix this, I'm gonna fix this, I'm gonna fix you, I'm gonna fix all the things, and I'm like, what? Oh,
hmm
hold, please. And then I don't want to breathe, and then I'm like, oh, this
hmm
is we left the boat. We're back in the back again. We're like swimming and trying to figure out where the dolphins are, and I think that makes sense, and I think you're right. That physical manifestation of it, I all for 99% of my clients we meet on Zoom or I do things live on Zoom in the membership in the lab because I want to know when people get like scoochy, when they start to like move
hmm
around, not because I'm trying to make them uncomfortable, because I want to know when they get uncomfortable so that I can sort of change tack or check in or do
Yeah.
those things just like you would with kids in a classroom. Like you see them start to like move and you're like,
Yeah.
something's not right.
Yeah, you want to read the room.
Yes.
Absolutely, because if the energy starts to move in it, that's information for you, right?
Yep.
As a coach and what you're doing in terms of holding the space for people. I also think it's interesting too that people use out things outside of themselves to try to ground. So, for example, food
Mm,
food, scrolling, alcohol, shopping. We're trying to somehow we don't know what to do with this energy, right? Because we haven't grounded it. And so there are these other, and again, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. It's the energy in which you're using them for.
yeah.
And usually what happens, especially when we have a tell, we go to something that we're trying to seek some comfort in that's not actually grounding us, but that is actually probably just, again, creating more of a separation. But we think somehow it will help. Like this food, this very, like, again, tactile thing is going to help us ground. But if we're just taking it in rather than actually bringing that inner awareness, that, like, to your point, the intellectual piece really
Mm.
becomes important there then so I see that a lot as well too. It's like, and again, the world is so volatile and so chaotic right now. A lot of, okay, how do we try to take the edge off, and stay out of our bodies, stay out of the truth of what we're feeling. So that's another little tell too.
Well, and I think for me, what's funny is I know my things. We all have things that you're like, ooh,
Mhm.
there's my answer. That's a reaction, not a response.
Absolutely.
Which
Absolutely.
Okay, that's like, oh, okay. So the new question, friends, for all of us is, are we reacting or responding? Because they're
Mm.
different. Um,
Mhm.
so here's really at the core of this, and what we've talked around in circles right here
Mhm.
is, why does this matter? So
Mm.
like, you know what you look like and feel like and sound like when you're grounded. You know what it looks like and feels like and sounds like when you're not.
Mhm.
Why do you care?
Uh, well,
Like, to
let's
put
see.
it very
I'm gonna
directly,
put
but like, why does anybody
yeah.
care? Like, because
Well,
if
how's
it
it working for you to be in reactive mode? You're not accessing your most like powerful, fullest expression of yourself. If you're in fix-it mode, it's like, and there's science here, right? Your brain, it's like, this is the only way this can work, right? And you can't access this multitude of many, many solutions that could actually be possible, or steps forward, or whatever it is that you know that's in front of you right now
Yeah.
when you're in that constricted state. First of all, it takes a toll on you if you are not processing and witnessing your own emotional body and state and being in relationship with that. If you are not grounding into your physical body, trust me, your body, at least my body, is like, oh, we'll get your attention another way.
It,
So you will be
you'll
asked to
know.
address it.
Yep, and it
You
will
will
not
be
be what you wanted.
exactly. And so it's kind of like you're discharging this energy and in a way, again, when you're responding to it, that it's not backing up, which
Mm,
all of a sudden you have this huge pile of, I have been ungrounded for 3 weeks, and now everything, it's like, if you're like those old pictures, cartoons, like with the piles on the desk, right? All of a sudden now it's bombarding you,
yeah.
and your nervous system now gets like, whoa, I don't know what to do. And then we probably reach to be more reactive. And we just create this loop that, like, this is why when people are like, I'm wired, but I'm tired. I can't go, I'm having
Mm,
a hard time sleeping. I'm snapping at people. Like, it shows up in all of these other places when we're ungrounded. And then it also then, like I said, it becomes this harder loop to, it's like, oh, wait, why did I stop at this? This is a bigger question of like, oh, I really have been ungrounded since last Tuesday.
yeah.
And this is all kind of like, I don't know, it's like all of it, like if this is the center, and then you have all of this other things around the peripheral that then it creates. And when you're grounded, again, this is not some state of perfection.
Nope.
When you're grounded, though, again, what life, I love the way you said that. Like when life comes with whatever it's going to come with, an emergency visit or something else unexpected, you're able to move through it in a way that doesn't completely deplete you, take you out, what have you. And to me, if I'm going to choose how I want to be on this planet, I'd much rather move through this planet in a way that feels good to me.
Mm,
And I think when we're operating from that, then we're more powerful in whatever we're doing out in the world. So if you're busy, you have a, entrepreneur, that kind of thing, the more that comes through, it's so magnetic and attractive to people
mhm.
because we really want to train other people around.
Well, and I feel like on some level we should play like like maybe in the lab we'll play like, I don't, and this is mean. I don't mean it this way, but it's like, go out into your world and be like, grounded, ungrounded, grounded, ungrounded, and see
Yeah.
whose
Yeah.
energy you're like, oh, because
Hmm.
that's sort of some of the secret sauce of the people you're like, oh, I always feel better when I talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you do. That's like grounded versus ungrounded. And what I think is interesting in what you're talking about, and what's interesting in what we all think about, what you and I think about when we talk about grounded versus ungrounded, is ungrounded is like most people's steady state of like chaos.
Yes.
And what I think is really important to note here is that I am someone that, if 5 or 6 years ago, my steady state of chaos, I didn't even understand there were other choices.
Hmm.
And if you said, well, be more grounded, I would have been like, okay, did I fall down?
Yeah.
Like, am I just laying on the floor today? What am I doing? And not that I didn't intellectually understand it, I just didn't understand it in
Yep.
the other ways. And today what I understand is, and you understand, is that like that chasingness of it all
Hmm.
is optional
Hmm.
from an inside out perspective. And it
Absolutely.
feels like that's not true
It
because
does.
you've
You're.
never known another way.
Hmm.
And it's still true. Plus, the thing that kills me about it is the non-chasing thing is actually a way smaller energy outlay. It like takes a lot
Hmm.
less energy to not be running at full speed all the time,
Yeah.
which people are like, well, I'm not caught up, so I don't have that choice.
Hmm.
Well, well, I
Hmm.
actually do. It's wild when you take that choice and you're like, well, I don't think this is going to work. And then people are like, what the heck?
It reminds me of, it's like this energy of drama,
Mm,
right? And it's just like it's a frequency. And drama doesn't actually solve things. Like, and so I got it trained as a youngin to chaos and drama.
yeah.
And when I went to recalibrate myself, it felt so uncomfortable. I love what you're saying, to be in this more grounded. I'm like, nothing's going on. Nothing's going on.
I
What,
don't know what
right?
to do with this.
Because again, fire after fire, drama, fire after what can it's like, oh, this gives me something to do. This illusion of this, right? That gives me something to do to be useful or feeling like I'm moving. But it's like, to me, and there's like an old quote about worry, like it's like a rocking chair, but drama's the same way. It creates all of this like, woo, but it doesn't actually move you anywhere.
Mhm.
It doesn't take you in a way that's like, oh, I mean, it actually probably is so prohibitive or exhaustive or what have you, but we're so much. I mean, think about just this like instant newsreel constantly. Like we are being fed, we need to react, 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 react,
Yeah.
react, react. And a lot of that, we haven't said this yet, is fear based.
Yeah.
And when you're running ungrounded, you are very much can be in a fear underneath state versus what I would say would be love. And I don't mean love like, oh, romantic love. I just mean like love will go, okay, let's take a moment for a second. Let's
Yeah.
see what's
Versus
going
that,
on.
like, it's like a centeredness with love, but it
Yeah.
is that, like, um, nothingness of like, okay, now
Mhm.
I don't, people, what's so interesting to me is people like, I just need a minute. And they get a minute, they don't take the minute because they don't know what to do with the minute. Like the number of clients over the years where I've given out homework that's like, okay, go do nothing for 5 minutes a day
Yeah.
has nothing to do with them as a business owner, but everything to do with them as a business owner at the same time, because just learning to be settled that way lets you do the picture in my head while you were talking is like you're taking teeny tiny centipede steps, like
Mhm.
15 million centipede step for every person step. The centipede
Mhm.
steps are the ungrounded ones, and you're not getting very far very fast because their legs are tiny.
Yeah.
And, they took 15,000 steps, and that's exhausting for your one step.
Yeah.
It just took way less time to take one step, and it's fascinating how hard we fight that
It is.
because we're
It
just not
absolutely
trained
is.
that way, and it's okay. But like, there are people out here who are like, I don't want to.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't want
And I
to.
think once you start like you said a couple years ago, where you intellectually got it, but then once you come into this and you feel it, you really start to feel it. You're like, oh. It's like the veil of like, wait,
Oh,
right?
yep,
You have a self realization, which again, grounded looks different for different, like
yep.
for all of us. So this is not, has to look a certain way. But once you start to come into your own frequency and you are not just being tethered to everybody else's and getting kind of, whipped around in that, like I'm now envisioning that that thing that I never went on because it looked like everybody just threw up on that just took you
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The spinny.
whipping you
Yeah,
around
yeah, yeah.
like
The
bumper
tilt
car.
whirl.
None of those
Tilt
things.
whirl.
Yeah, it's like you go, oh, I didn't even know
I was
it could
on it.
feel, yeah, I could feel this good. And that I was in some other state until you really break that. You think, what are they talking about? I am like people will say, I am grounded.
And you're like,
And, and sure, okay. However, let's explore that a little bit further and
well, and
really
it's like
see.
if you were 10% more grounded, what would it look like?
I
Like,
love your
because you can
questions
be
like that.
grounded, but like,
Mm.
what if it was 10% more or 1% more?
Yeah.
Because for me, one of the 10% more things was like, okay, I can be grounded in me, but then I get around other people and I'm immediately sucked into their energy.
Hmm.
And when I figured out how to practice staying in myself, which is something I'm working on with kid one right now, it is like an entirely different thing. And that's when people would be like, you're always just so settled in no matter
Mm.
what. And it was like, oh.
I love
And
when you
that
get
I
that
am.
reflection back. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, right? To really be able to see. And I think also too, the this idea of like, oh, well, I go to yoga from 9 to 10 in the morning on Tuesdays, and that's where I'm grounded. It's like, but if we compartmentalize only allowing ourselves to really fully relax into ourselves in certain times too,
Yeah.
that's another thing that I'm sure you've seen as well. It's like, oh, I allow myself to be, but then don't even realize that the rest of whatever's going
Yeah.
on is actually very ungrounded.
Well, and
So there
it's
can
like,
be
could you
that,
be yoga you like outside of yoga? Because wouldn't
right?
it be nice if she went with you places?
Right?
Like,
I say that
whoa.
all the time. Well, in a room full of teachers, I did the same thing. I asked them for 5 minutes every day to do nothing, and I thought that they were really going to finally hurt me.
Right? Because they're like, what? I,
Wait, you don't
and it is
understand. And I said, no,
so,
I do understand. I was a teacher. I
I
understand.
do
Yeah.
get it. And it
Yeah.
is, so we are going to, I'm hoping that we really made the case for like looking at yourself as you listen and saying like, okay, when am I grounded? When am I not grounded? What does it look like and feel like for me? When am I responding versus reacting?
Mhm.
And to really think that through.
Yeah.
And then if you're like, okay, but now like now what?
Hmm.
Come join us in the lab next week
Yeah.
or when this is released this week. Because I think that in PS, if you are like after the conversation and you join the lab, it's all saved. It's all saved. Get all the access to all the things. So it really is like okay, let's dive into the like, but what do you actually do? Because
Hmm.
I have my things, you have your things, you've taught other people things.
Hmm.
5 minutes of nothingness is a hard one. There's lots of other ones. And it's like, what does this actually look like? Because it's great intellectually to know groundedness, but it's way more effective for your humanness and your business. Because I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you, I make a crap ton more money when I'm grounded, and I
Hmm.
am a far better service person when I'm
Hmm.
grounded, and a far better parent when I'm grounded. Holy crap.
Hmm.
Being that lets me do everything else more easily and not feel like I'm cramming it all into my day, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating that all it took was a me thing to change time. That's a separate question. But
That's another juicy topic.
yes, like, holy cow, groundedness gives you control of time. It's insane.
Hmm.
Like a magic human now. Um,
Yes.
what is one thing you want people to think about related to groundedness for themselves before they go?
So I like this idea again because I think, in the world where it's like, oh, now I need to do this and
Mm,
that it's something else. I just meeting yourself in a moment. Like I love these questions, just like it's like a science experiment.
mhm.
Just gather information in a way that's not like, oh, I'm going to judge myself with the data that I collect.
Right.
Just
Data is
be
not a stick.
curious.
Data's not a
Exactly.
stick.
No, I just be curious. And I think for me, if nothing else, if you start, I really believe this. If you start your day and end your day with a little bit of these questions, like, ooh, my intention today is to like notice where I'm responding versus reacting.
Mm.
And then you look and you just check in and see, you will get information
Mhm.
that will be helpful to you. And you play around with it, practice, experiment, be curious to see exactly what it is. But I also think one other real big thing is to notice what's going on in your outer world, because I don't think we realize until we realize how much other people's ungrounded energy is bleeding and like, some people would say energy vampiring, us on a regular basis. That it's not always just it's not
No,
always
it's
us.
not.
It's
And
a lot of what's going on around us.
well, and there are ways to manage for that without being like, I got to get a new family.
Right.
Like I
Right. No.
moving to a beach by yourself in Bali is not required, but sometimes appropriate. I
Yeah.
think we have a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff to get into. We could literally do this for days, but I'm trying to keep it succinct.
Yeah.
Um, my friend, tell them all the ways to find you. Oh, P.S. before you do
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
Stacy is an actual human, listener friend. She's an actual human being who has actual human conversations. If you go find her on LinkedIn or Facebook and you say, "Hey, Stacy, I heard you on Sarah's podcast. I'd love to actually know you." She would love to actually know you too. So, like, we're going to
True.
start with that.
Ah, I love that. So I have a free Facebook community where I do all sorts of
Magical things.
delicious things. It's called Everyday Enchantment. I've also really been funneling my energy and focus into my Substack,
Hmm.
which is Dear Soul Love. It's about being messy and truthful and all these like this conversation and things of that nature, whatever
Yep.
wants to come through my channel. And I have a traditional newsletter if you like that avenue as well. And those are usually the ways because then you can find out about any of the other things that are going on through those couple of channels.
Yeah, and if you go to one of those channels and you're like, "Oh, I'm on our newsletter," you know what works with a newsletter? Hitting reply.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Yeah, send me it. I read all my messages, respond to all of that. So
Yep.
I am a real human, and please reach out to me if you want. I
Yes.
love connection.
I
We
know.
were just saying how connection is such a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
again, I mean, that's the essence of being grounded, being connected to yourself and what's going on.
Yeah. And then to other people, it's like, oh, it's magic. It's magic. And
It's
that's what Stacey
magic.
is, magic. My friend, you are the most delightful, and I appreciate you. And I look forward to even more talks in the Uncomplicating Business Lab
Cannot wait.
with you.
Thank you.
Friends, you can subscribe to this podcast, push the little button. You can rate and review it, and that's how other people find it. You can watch on YouTube. On the Uncomplicating Business YouTube channel. You can, let's see, come join us in the lab. Um, you can find the lab at torpycoaching.com/, the lab. Very creative namer over here. Um, but we would love to see you in there in this community. There's coaching, there's community, there's resources and tools, there's ongoing support. It is all that in a bag of chips, as they say in the 80s. So I will
Do
see
it.
you all in 2 weeks on the podcast, but I'll see you next week in the lab with Stacy. More Stacy and more like nitty gritty stuff, which
Yay.
is going to
I
be so
can't wait to
fun.
get into all that.
I know. All right, we'll see you soon, friends.